Hi everyone, this is Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 8, written by Jim Shooter, penciled by Mike Zeck, inked by a bunch of people, and edited by Tom DeFalco. So let's get it out of the way. This cover is iconic. This is probably the most famous cover outside of like issue number 1 or maybe issue number 12 of the Secret Wars covers. This is a fantastic cover, by the way. Obviously, this is the first appearance of the Symbiote, first appearance of Spider-Man's black costume. Has major implications for Marvel Comics for years to come. It's a rather, I could say, almost trivial scene for the most part, up until the costume change. And this particular issue is usually the most expensive issue in Secret Wars. And then the accompanying Amazing Spider-Man issue that follows this whole major event is extremely expensive. So in terms of like collectors, this issue is kind of the thing. Luckily, you can read it for a lot cheaper in a trade paperback. But yeah, if you wanted to actually get the floppy, prepare to put down some money. But anyway, the issue actually inside is fantastic. This was a really fun issue, and there's a few flaws in this issue, but for the most part, this is a ton of fun. So the Avengers come flying out, and they're headed over to Doom Base to go kick Doom and his baddies' asses. They head over there, and there's a little bit of surprise because they weren't intercepted by any of Doom's minions. And as we go inside, we find the Enchantress is busy getting drunk. And dreaming of Thor, as she is wont to do. And really fun dialogue right here. I think Jim Shooter has a lot of fun with Enchantress in this event here. We go over to basically all of the villains as they're kind of getting ready for the attack by the heroes. Here we rejoin She-Hulk as she's basically beaten nearly to death by the entire baddie gang. Doc Ock gives one last little punch at the end. We go over to Doom, but Doom is still basically in shock of what happened in the previous issue when he got toasted by by Galactus. And here comes the Avengers. Captain Marvel comes flying through in her light form. Human Torch and Iron Man lead the way. Iron Man gets attacked first. Luckily, he has his armor, so James Rhodes is able to get rid of the Wrecker immediately. And what follows is basically a brawl as all these characters kind of fight each other off. You got Spider-Man jumping in, fighting Absorbent Man. You got the Thing fighting over, and then Ben Grimm loses his rocks. Spider-Woman gets to jump into action, and this is actually a pretty good scene. She tosses the Absorbent Man into a wall, and then tosses the freaking bowling ball right into him as well. Here you have Pile Driver trying to attack Hawkeye, but Hawkeye kind of nails him. This whole scene's actually kind of a little confusing. I feel like there's like some either Spider-Man or Avengers kind of thing that I'm missing right here, because otherwise it's a little weird. But Hulk bashes in to the Enchantress's chambers, and the Enchantress successfully seduces him and is able to defeat him with her booby magic. Unfortunately for her, Captain America is a Boy Scout, so booby magic doesn't work, and she has to use her regular fighting powers. But Captain America, is a true American and gives her the backhand. Titania tries to drop a steel beam on everybody, but Spider-Man stops her, and they get into a fight. This is actually the best fight in the entire issue, Spider-Man and Titania. Actually, I really like it a lot. Hawkeye and Ben Grimm, the non-thing Ben Grimm, run into Claw and the Lizard, and they have to kind of outsmart them. We go over to Volcana and Molecule Man. They fend off the rest of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. Iron Man makes a desperate attempt to get through, kind of fails, and it looks like Iron Man's going to get toasted till Mr. Fantastic saves him, and more importantly, Captain Marvel goes over and is able to disable the Molecule Man and get Volcana to give up. By the way, Captain Marvel, 80s Captain Marvel, not modern Captain Marvel, which is Carol Danvers, which is Miss Marvel, not to be confused with modern Miss Marvel, which I'm not even going to acknowledge because she's stupid. Yeah, this Captain Marvel's actually kind of cool. It was like trying to read some like Roger Stern stuff. She's actually a pretty interesting character. I don't know why Marvel's went away from this character, because if the whole purpose of modern Marvel is to be diversity, you know, the 80s Captain Marvel was black and she was actually kind of interesting. I don't understand why they made Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. They should have kept her as Miss Marvel. But whatever. You know, nothing that freaking Marvel has done since like the mid-90s makes any fucking sense. So I guess we'll just go with it. Sorry, off my soapbox. But anyway, we get back to the fight with Spider-Man and Titania, and it's actually really, really good. Like, I really enjoy this fight. Because Titania as a character or a villain is really annoying and aggravating, and perhaps Jim Shooter meant her to be very aggravating. But anyhow, she finally gets her comeuppance, and Spider-Man just freaking beats the shit out of her. Like, he, like, for lack of a better words, just freaking taps that ass. Like, oh man, just freaking kick to the back of the head, punch to the face, double punch, grabs her by the freaking ankle, and tosses her out of a building. This is, by the way, this is fantastic visual storytelling by Mike Zeck. I really like it, which is unfortunate because in a couple pages he's going to make a big error, but could it be the inker, so I'm not going to necessarily blame it on Mike Zeck, but yeah, fantastic visual storytelling. Captain America and Human Torch run into Ultron. Ultron kind of gets the jump on them, and if it's not for basically Johnny Storm going Dragon Ball Z, they would have lost. So this is actually really, really cool. I like this a lot. It's actually very manga-ish, you know, a big explosion with just this oversized scene and everything. I kind of like this. This is really cool. Captain America confronts Doctor Doom, but Doctor Doom's still freaking toast. They meet over, and Claw, Lizard, Hawkeye, and Ben Grimm are having a game of patty cake. So this scene is stupid and silly, but I will admit I did get a laugh out of it when I first read this issue. So, you know, Jim Shooter accomplished what he wanted. That being said, it's still kind of silly. Captain Marvel saves She-Hulk. All of them kind of lick their wounds, and you get a lot of character development and back and forth. We go back to Colossus and Saji, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I hate this character. But she does save the Wasp. So there you go. That kind of explains the Wasp kind of coming back to life. We go to the X-Men, and the X-Men are basically being security guards and looking and watching out for Galactus. And then they find out Galactus is going to make his move, and Mike Zeck. Nah. I should be fair. This looks like this is an error of the inker. So you can see here there's two thumbs. Obviously, Cyclops doesn't have two thumbs. So what probably happened here is the inker screwed up or something. I don't know. But yeah, if I don't know if this is necessarily only in this trade paperback version or if it's in the printed version. I don't know. I don't have the printed version of this issue because it's fucking expensive. But yeah, Cyclops' thumb, he doesn't have two thumbs. No, Cyclops. We go over to the rest of the crew. They're kind of licking their wounds, and we get this amazing scene. So Thor comes out of a room with his clothes back, and Spider-Man's like, what the hell? How'd you get your clothes back? And it's like, oh yeah, there's some Deus Ex Machina machine that makes your clothes again. And Spider-Man jumps in and is like, okay, cool. Is it this machine? Links into it, gets a black ball. He's like, what the hell is... Oh my god! And then he gets his symbiote on him at this point. And this is the origin of the symbiote in Secret Wars number 8. Pretty cool for the most part. It's kind of funny. You probably wouldn't have guessed that this would be like the, you know, birthplace of essentially Venom. Yeah, this is it, back in the 80s. Anyhow, the issue ends with Professor Xavier calling all of the heroes over there at Doom Base to come over because Galactus is about to wreck everybody's shit. And that's pretty much the issue in a nutshell. Anyhow, overall, extremely fun issue, iconic cover, tons of stuff happens. If there was an issue that you had to have in Secret Wars, issue 8 was pretty much it. And for good reason. It's a fun issue. There's not really many big errors in this in that issue. It's mostly really good fights, good Mike Zeck art. One inking error and a couple Jim Shooter being silly kind of things, but for the most part, fantastic issue and easily the peak of Secret Wars. Anyhow, let's get to the art. So this time around, I obviously, as I said, I loved the fight between Spider-Man and Titania, so of course I was going to do it. Looking back on this, I think I should have changed the angle. In general, what this entire effort showed me was I need to work on my angles because this is too flat. I mean, the perspective's right, but it's just a little too flat. I should have came up a little bit further up, and I think this would have looked a little cooler. That being said, from this angle, Spider-Man showing off the Spidey sense is really cool. I like this panel a lot. I don't think I would change it if I would go back. I think I would keep this. Just because it feels cool to have this much movement, right? I feel like this punch feels like it's got weight, and even though the anatomy and the body is a little weird here, I feel like Spider-Man leaping here looks really cool. This is probably the one I would definitely change because this just feels weird looking. I feel like it doesn't have enough weight. I would definitely go for a more acute angle with how you display this, but yeah, I would still go with this, and this is just honestly, I just love the freaking panel of Mike Zeck having this freaking chick get tossed through a building. I think it's just great. By the way, I was kind of experimenting with lettering just to give this more of a storyboard feel. Hand lettering is kind of cool to do, so I was kind of I want to do more hand lettering. It would just be kind of fun to do it, right? Overall, not a bad effort. I think the most important part is I actually kind of had fun doing this, which sometimes art can be frustrating, but this is I know what I did wrong, and I'll just try to do it better next time. But there was some fun stuff in here, so it was really enjoyable to do. Anyhow, that's the review. Let me know what you think. If you like this review, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments about Secret Wars number 8 or my art, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.